Hello again. In the previous video, we looked at tone and formality, how the way you say something can be just as important as the words themselves. In this video, we'll shift the focus to clarity, how to make sure your message is easy to understand and impossible to misinterpret. Because here's the truth. In professional communication, clarity beats sophistication. People don't want beautiful sentences. They want clear ones. Let me ask you this. Have you ever read an email, finished it, and still had no idea what the sender wanted from you? Unclear communication wastes time, creates mistakes, and sometimes damages relationships. On the other hand, a clear message builds trust. It shows respect for your audience's time and makes you sound confident. There are three simple principles we'll work with. Short sentences. If your sentence has more than 25 words, split it. For example, instead of due to unforeseen circumstances, we will be unable to proceed with the meeting as initially planned, and therefore we would like to suggest a new date. Say, we can't hold a meeting as planned. Let's choose a new date. Simple words. Replace long phrases with shorter alternatives. Instead of saying utilize, say use. Instead of writing commands, write start. Instead of due to the fact that, write because. Direct structure. Put the most important idea where people can see it, right at the top. And that brings us to one of the most powerful tools for clarity, BLUF. BLUF stands for bottom line up front. It means you start with your main point first, then add the explanation, context, or details after. Let's look at an example. Without BLUF, I've reviewed the proposal thoroughly. It has many strengths, but also some weaknesses. I think it could work if we make adjustments. We should approve it with changes. Now, with BLUF, we should approve the proposal with changes. Here's why. Notice how the BLUF version makes a recommendation clear immediately. There are three reasons BLUF is so effective. It saves time. Busy professionals want the conclusion first. It prevents confusion. The key message is impossible to miss. It makes you sound confident. By stating your point up front, you show that you know what matters most. Now, in emails, instead of starting with background, start with your request. For example, without BLUF, I hope this email finds you well. We've been looking into the different suppliers available, and after some analysis, we found that 2 of them meet our requirements. Would like to get your input before moving forward. Now, with BLUF, this would sound like, we need your input to choose between 2 suppliers. Here's the background. In meetings, when given a status update, start with the key point. For example, without BLUF, the design phase has been going well. We've had good collaboration, though there were some delays because of external approvals. We think we can recover the time and stay on schedule. This with BLUF could sound like, The project is still on schedule. The design phase is going well, even though external approvals caused some delays. In presentations, for example, at the beginning of a presentation, don't hide your conclusion until the end. Tell your audience what they should expect. For example, today I'll show you why we recommend launching in April, not March. Now let's try together. Here's a short message. I've spoken with the client. They had a few questions about pricing and timelines. We clarified some of their concerns. Overall, they're happy to proceed. How would you rewrite this using BLUF? Take your time. Here's an option. The client is happy to proceed. They had some questions about pricing and timelines, but we clarified their concerns. Now, let me give you some tips for practicing BLUF. Before writing or speaking, ask yourself, if my audience remembers only one sentence, what should it be? Put that sentence first. Then add the details, reasoning, or examples. At first, BLUF might feel too direct, especially if you come from a culture that values more indirect communication. But remember, direct doesn't have to mean blunt. You can still soften your message with polite phrases or a respectful tone. And BLUF is not always appropriate. If you're giving delicate feedback, delivering bad news, or writing someone who expects a more formal approach, you can decide how directly to apply it. In most international business settings, people will thank you for being clear and to the point. Clarity is not about being simple, it's about being efficient. Short sentences, simple words, and BLUF will help you get your message across faster and more confidently. In the next module, we'll move from structure to substance. We'll explore key phrases, vocabulary, and techniques that will make your English more effective in everyday professional communication.